All right, boys and girls, today what we're going to do is we're going to add and subtract fractions in word problems. We're not going to use this process. We're going to use models or visuals to show our thinking. Remember that when we have a word problem, we want to make sure to answer in a answer statement as well. Here we go. Let's read problem 1. Sue ran 9/10 of a mile on Monday and 7/10 of a mile on Tuesday. Roadblock. How many miles did Sue run in the 2 days? All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to first start with how would you draw a tape diagram to show what you know? All right, guys, so what I did to show what I know is I showed how much Sue ran on Monday, how much she ran on Tuesday, and I don't know total what she ran in all. So what I need to do is I need to add these two numbers. I'm going to use the standard algorithm. I notice that my denominators are the same, so I'm going to go ahead and keep them the same. Then I can add my numerators. 9 plus 7 is 16. Uh-oh. What I notice here is I have an improper fraction. So Mrs. Andrews would mark this wrong. What I need to do is I need to use a number bond to break this apart to a mixed number. Can you go ahead, pause the video, and make a number bond to write this as a mixed number? All right, great job. So when you took apart one whole, we took out one whole, and then 16 minus 10 was 6. That's what's left over. I have an answer of 1 6/10. So I need to write something about Sue ran 1 6/10 miles in the 2 days. Notice that I started with a capital, I end with a period, and I'm just going to circle my answer so Mrs. Andrews can easily see it. I'm going to go ahead and start number 2. What I'd like you to do is pause the video, and I want you to draw a tape diagram based on what you know, and we'll check back to compare your work to mine. Okay, so what I did is I know that Maria spent 4/7 of her money on a book and she saved the rest. So what I drew here was a tape diagram. Here's one whole. One whole, or all of her money, would be 7/7 because we're dealing with sevenths. And she spent 4 out of the 7. So I'm going to color in 4. And now I need to go ahead and do that equation to show. We started with a whole, or that much amount of money, and she used or spent 4/7 to buy a book. How much is she left with? So I need to convert or change my whole number into a fraction. Because I'm dealing with sevenths, I'm going to go ahead and change this into sevenths. That equals 7 divided by 7 is 1. And now I can subtract. Going ahead using my standard algorithm, I look at my denominators. They stay the same. 7 minus 4 is 3. And again, my picture shows that I started with a whole, she spent 4, and 3 are left over. So 3/7 is what's left. So what fraction of her money did Maria save? Maria saved 3/7 of her money. I want you to make sure that you have a description, or a model or a visual to show your thinking, and you showed your work of how you actually got it, and an answer statement. Go ahead, pause, make sure you have all of that completed, and then go ahead and start number 3. Again, I want to see that visual. How did you decipher what we need to do here? All right, guys, so what I did for number 3 is I noticed total, she started with 1 4/8 of, that's how much pizza she had left after the party, and she gave Gary some, but I don't know how much because it just says some, and this is how much she had left over. So in this equation, I'm trying to figure out Gary's amount. So my equation is 1 4/8 minus 7/8. This is what we did yesterday in class. We have to first convert this to an improper fraction. So again, we're going to use that number bond to show, and we're going to add them together. So 1 is the same as 8/8. I chose 8s because we're dealing with 8s, and 4/8. Together, 8 plus 4 is 12 out of 8, and I can finish solving my equation to see how much is left over. Go ahead, pause your video and solve this. All right, boys and girls, I went ahead and showed you my answer statement for number 3. Mrs. Jones gave Gary 5/8 of the pizza. Again, I used my tape diagram. I have my equation. You can see my number bond, how I converted my my mixed number to an improper fraction. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try number 4 all by yourself and then come back to the video and let's check to see if we solved it the same. All right, good luck. All right, boys and girls, so what I did for my tape diagram is I wrote each fraction and I labeled it for lemonade, cranberry juice, and soda. I then showed how I used the standard algorithm to add it. I was left with an improper fraction, so I had to convert it using my number bond, and I was left with 1 5/8 gallons of punch. Notice that I did Marius because that's who it was about. I have gallons because we're talking about, that's our label. And obviously punch because we have to be specific. What I'd like you to do now is go ahead and start your math stations. Look on the board and see where you need to go. Get there quickly, and good luck.